Welcome everyone to the Dan Sports Tips Major League Baseball preview. We're going to start today with the American League, and we're going to run through each of the teams in all of the divisions, talk about my opinion on them for the upcoming year, and maybe put a couple of tips across for some betting, and let's hope we win some money. Okay, in the American League West, I'm going to start with the teams that aren't going to win the American League West. Let me start with the Oakland Athletics. They don't look like they're going to contend this year. Obviously, Moneyball, Billy Bean. I think they look like they're going to be trading their assets away come the deadline in July, trying to pick up some talent to build a contender down the road. You know, they've got some players that you'd like. I mean, Stephen Vogt, the catcher, Jed Lowry, Sonny Gray, the starting pitcher, is genuinely good. But the rest of the rotation looks terrible. Train wreck, again, is the word that I associate with that. The bullpen is compiled of a load of relief pitchers that are big names from the past, if you like, that they're looking to rebuild, and I would assume to trade away at the deadline to gain more prospects for the future. I'd put a line through the Athletics and I'd move on very quickly, to be honest. The Los Angeles Angels. This is a team. They've got the best player, well, one of the two or three best players in baseball anyway, in Mike Trout. But I can't see myself parting with my money to bet on the Angels very often this year. They look so reliant on Trout. Albert Pujols is getting older. How old is he? Let's be honest. And there's a distinct lack of power throughout this team. You know, there's only one other player that hit 20 home runs last year, and that's Cole Calhoun in the outfield. I don't know how long Pujols will stay healthy. Is his bat speed back up to what it needs to be? I mean, it doesn't. He didn't look to be hitting the ball as well as recent years last year. And the rotation, good God. Garrett Richards is the number one starter. I mean, he was 15-12 with a 3.65 ERA last year. How is that your number one starter? Hector Santiago has got a long way to go to convince me he can be consistent, and so does Matt Shoemaker off a poor year. Jared Weaver looks hittable. His velocity has dropped. He's looked bad in spring training, and Andrew Heaney could arguably end up with half decent numbers as the 5-starter compared to the rest, but you don't want to take he's got bad home road splits. You certainly wouldn't want to trust him away from Anaheim. Bullpen looks okay though. For me, this is the year the bottom falls out in Anaheim, and the Angels for me will not be contending in the division this year because they've just failed to add any talent around Mike Trout. Seattle. This is where the division kind of gets interesting, but still not interesting enough for me. The King, Felix Hernandez, workhorse of the rotation, previous Cy Young Award winner. How long does his reign on the throne continue? Yeah, only one player's thrown as many innings as he has during his career, and Justin Verlander is the only player that's exceeded him, and we've seen how the wheels fell off there recently. How many more miles are on the arm? How long till Felix runs out of gas? Could this be the year? It's probably one of those I'd rather jump off this bandwagon early rather than be too late. Hisashi Iwakuma, number 2. He's what, 34, I think, this year, getting older. Taiwan Walker, terribly inconsistent. Who knows which half of last year is the real Taiwan Walker? Wade Miley was disgustingly bad last year, and Nathan Kearns is certainly not someone I want to rely on. While it's probably a little bit wrong for me to question Felix Hernandez, I do have my reservations this year. I've got a question mark about every pitcher that Seattle's going to throw out there on a daily basis to start. They have upgraded the defense from last year, where they ranked near the bottom. Nelson Cruz has led the league in home runs the last 2 years, despite playing half his games at Safeco Field, which is a known pitcher's ballpark. And a lot of how this team will do also revolves around Robinson Cano. Can the second baseman get anywhere near where he was with the Yankees before signing the big contract in Seattle? If you look at the second half of last year, then you can be encouraged, and I think Cano will be okay, and if they can strengthen the heart of this batting lineup, and I'm wrong, and the pitches are okay, then there's no reason this team can't finally get Felix Hernandez to pitch in a playoff game in October. But the two teams above them in the division, Texas and Houston, for me, are just flat out better. They've got more depth. They've got depth in the minor leagues that they can call on to either bring up to the majors or trade away for talent if they need them. And I can't see Seattle. There's too many questions for me. I don't think there'll be a contender in the West this year. I think this division is a two-horse race between Texas and Houston. The Texas Rangers. I'll be honest, I expected to love the Texas Rangers this year. I thought I was going to absolutely be all over this team to win the division. I don't. Adrian Beltre's getting older. His excellent career at third base. He has hit home runs. He's in a great park to hit them in Texas. A bit like Felix Hernandez. I mean, Beltre's going to turn 37 the first week of this season, and I'd rather just jump off before the wheels come off. Shin-Soo Choo is also getting up there in age. I've no idea what they're going to get from Ian Desmond playing left field defensively. I'm no fan of Mitch Moreland at first base either, and all of a sudden I'm not keen on half of the batting lineup that Texas are going to throw out there. The pitching, I mean, they've got Cole Hamels. They picked him up from Philadelphia for the stretch run last year at the deadline. A genuine ace. He knows how to pitch. He knows how to pitch in a hitter's ballpark because, Philly and Texas are both hitter's ballparks. So, you're going to get production from Hamels so long as he's healthy. Colby Lewis is middle of the road. Derek Holland is coming off a season that was lost to injury and a postseason start from hell. And then Martin Perez and Nick Martinez. Those two could make steps forward this year. They're going to need to if the team's going to go to October. With doubts over half the lineup, at least 40, if not 60% of the rotation, it's hard for me to get enthused with the idea of parting with my hard-earned cash on the Texas Rangers to do much this year. Obviously, they did win it last year, but there's a young team in Houston, in state, that just look like they're going to be better. The Houston Astros, they've got the one question to answer. John Singleton, first baseman. Slow start last year, awful spring training this year. Looks like the rookie Tyler White will come in and play there. That's the decision they have to make. White's obviously a rookie, but you can't play Singleton just because he's got the big payday this year. I think he earns something like $10 million. If he's not your best option, go with the best option. Really, only a few questions. The first baseman, as we've discussed, Jason Castro is not really good enough with the lumber catcher. But that's about it, really. Carlos Correa's a superstar. Will be right up there in the MVP race. They get power from third baseman Luis Valbuena, Colby Rasmus, George Springer in the outfield, Evan Gattis at DH. They look solid defensively. They look good with a bat. What about the pitching? Well, they've got Dallas Keuchel, who was right there, came into his own last year. They've added Doug Fister, who, granted, had a down year in a contract year, but on a one-year deal, there's nothing wrong with Fister. Lance McCullers, Colin McHugh, they can look to build on solid years from last year. Mike Fiers, number 5 starter. But if that's all you're looking for from him, then, every fifth day you can maybe work the bullpen a little bit more if it's not going well with him. This team, from top to bottom, looks as good as there is in this division, potentially as good as there is in the American League for me. They're certainly, although they're the favourites for this division, they're a solid bet to win it, I think. And to back it up as well, They've got a farm system that's loaded with talent. If they need to tool up at the deadline for something for the final push, they've got the prospects to trade if they want to. If they do suffer injuries, they've got prospects that they can call up that they can expect to get some production from throughout the season as well. I love the Houston Astros, and I can't believe I do, but I love the Houston Astros.